We're all writers here, and I personally am very interested in screenplay writing, and you've read hundreds of screenplays in your time as an actor. And so what are some details in a screenplay that can take it from just okay to very good?
Well, I think that there's storytelling, which of course is different in screenplays because it's more visually oriented than, I mean, the theater is visual, but it's, you tell a story through pictures really in the movies. Dialogue tends to be on the light side compared with theater in a screenplay. How you delineate character in shorter bits of time in a screenplay is a particular challenge. But I'm not being a playwright, or a screenwriter. It's hard for me to answer you specifically, except in reading one, it's the same set of things. Is the character rich and interesting? Does the story take my interest? Do I know what's going to happen, like on page 5, or does it keep me, interested and intrigued throughout? Am I wondering what's going to happen next? One of the things that's so interesting about Race and about Mamet as a playwright is he writes plays where you don't know what's going to happen. You just don't know what's going to happen next. So you stay with it. That's important. And, it's that quality in writing that it's like everything else. It's ineffable, Particular writers have a particular style and a particular voice that comes alive in ways that other writing doesn't, and you recognize it after a while. You think, oh, that's okay. Wow, that's interesting. You just learn to recognize it.
Have you had any unsuccessful auditions? And if so, how did you deal with this? And what advice do you have for aspiring actors about this process?
Oh, hundreds of unsuccessful auditions. You have more unsuccessful auditions than successful ones in the course of a career, especially early on. I hate to tell you, but that's when it's really the roughest. But no, unsuccessful is an interesting word because if you don't get the job, it doesn't mean necessarily that the audition wasn't good. If you don't get the part, it doesn't mean that you didn't do a good job. Sometimes it's just like how tall you are, or whether you're too old or too young looking, or your voice, or whether they've got an idea about. Because the thing you got to remember is, I've sat on that side of the desk too when I've directed and produced, and every single person who walks into the room to audition, you want them to be the one. Every summer I want this young woman to be the one for the right one. So they want you to be the right one. But there are so many factors that go into it that have nothing to do with anything you could actually do anything about. That the term successful or unsuccessful could only, I would say you could call it successful if you get the part, unsuccessful if you don't, but not necessarily a bad audition or a good audition. Now you can have auditions that don't go well, that you didn't feel comfortable, you felt uptight, you didn't feel like you gave them what they wanted, you didn't get it, so you think, well, okay, it wasn't, I didn't put it in the slot, that we all have that, sometimes you get the ball in the basket and sometimes you don't, The key is, if possible, and it's very hard to do because with acting you are the thing on offer. What you're offering is yourself. So when auditions don't go well, you tend to take it on. It's like me. It's about me, because what I was offering was me. What got rejected was me, and that's tough. But the key is, if possible, not to take it personally, because it's not about your qualities as a person that are good or bad or worthwhile or not worthwhile or talented or untalented. It's really just about what they're looking for and whether you match up with what they have in their head. But lots of unsuccessful auditions. Just try not to take it personally, and it's okay to feel bummed, and it's okay to get mad about it or upset or feel, recognize how you feel about it, but realize that there'll be another one, and they'll come along, and that the jobs you get are really the jobs you're meant to get. There are a whole lot of factors that go into getting a job. What they're looking for, whether you're right for it, whether you're good on that day, whether you're the last one they see and the best one they've seen. There's so many factors But just let it be there, because when all the factors come into alignment for you to get a job, that's the right thing. If those factors don't all come into alignment, many of which are out of your control, let it go. There'll be another one. The key is to do a lot of auditioning. The key is to keep trying. The key is to get as many opportunities as possible. And you can be like me and be successful and well known and still audition and still not get parts. If they're not, that's just the way it is. I mean, there's a very small percentage of actors who at some point, from a certain point on in their life, never, ever, ever have to audition. And auditioning doesn't necessarily mean you have to go stand in front of somebody. And you can be a star and know that there's a particular movie or play coming, and you can tell your agent, I want to do that part. And the producers will go, well, we're really looking for somebody else. We have a different thing in mind. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can be way past the point where you go out on regular auditions and still not get jobs you want. So that's the nature of the beast. That's what you got to be able to live with, because it never stops.